Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we want everybody with an invisible condition, no matter what that condition is, to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you do have a voice, you have a community, and you are never alone. And so here on Invisible Condition, just got to say this. We get it. We know that life can be rough sometimes. Depending on the conditions you have, it can be really rough. You know, the condition that people with the condition that I was born with, brain surgery is a pretty regular thing. You know, on average, people with hydrocephalus, which is a condition I was born with, are having brain surgery every 2 to 3 years on average. That can be an interesting thing. That could be kind of crazy, right? But we get it. It can be rough, but there's always hope. Always hope. And so if it's been a minute since you've experienced that, if you're in a hopeless state, if you're in a state where you're kind of freaking out, like what the heck's happening right now? Why is this happening to me? What's going on? Join us in the land of hope. It's a beautiful place. It's a good thing. Join us, won't you? It's fun here. It's where I like to spend a lot of time. So it's great. So, all right, I want to talk about one thing before we bring on Bryce. Bryce is back here with us today from Chronic Illness Solution. And I want to talk to you about Hydro with Hope first, real quick. Hydro with Hope is the nonprofit side of Invisible Condition. And that is a nonprofit that is created to help people with hydrocephalus, which is the condition I was talking about before, the one that I was born with and that requires the brain surgery. And man, it can be a crazy life with hydrocephalus. And so we have a journal that we have published a couple of years ago to help people with that journey, to chronicle that whole thing of brain surgery and recovery and doctor visits and all the things. And also my wife and I love to speak and love to tell stories and spread hope. And if your organization needs some hope or needs an amazing story like that, I'd love to talk to you. And we're also growing our board and expanding our vision with Hydro with Hope. And so if you'd like to donate, hydrowithhope.com is where to go to do that. Thank you in advance. Appreciate it. And if you would like to help us in any other way, email me at invisiblecondition@e360tv.com and we'll schedule a call and talk about it. At the same time, also, advertising is a thing on TV. It's how TV shows are sustained, right? That's TV. There's commercials, right? If you know of a company that would like to be part of that on our show, I'd love to talk to you too. So, all right, let's bring our guest on here. Actually, I'm going to do that first. There we go. Now we know who we're talking to. All right. So Bryce Briggs from Chronic Illness Solution. Let's bring him on here. Bryce, man, good morning. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Morning. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely, man. This is awesome. I always love having anybody and everybody from Chronic Illness Solution on here because you guys are doing it right. You guys are. It's all about root cause, and it's not about symptom management, you know, and with the topic we're going to talk about today, it's even more important. Like with medical conditions, okay, yes, root cause is important. Get down to that, you know. We're going to be talking about marriage today, which if you're struggling in that category, that can be invisible too. And so it can be, I wouldn't call it a condition, you know, let's not go there, but marriage, things that go on, you know, everybody wants to put on their pretty face and put that out to the world, but behind the scenes, there's invisible stuff going on that might not be so pretty. So we're going to tackle it. We're going to talk about it. So marriage health, right? So, so go for it. Give us a little synopsis of what we're going to be talking about today.
Great. So I'm here to talk about marriage and marriage health, and it really starts with, you know, the health of you as an individual. This is something that I discovered in my journey in healing as well as, the closer that I got to God, more connected I became in myself, and more I chose to show up for myself in my healing. That in turn affected my relationship. And so that inspired me to start to develop a marriage course that has to do with that's checking in on the health of the marriage. Am I truly committed to my marriage? And am I truly committed to myself in that? Am I committed to myself in my marriage? Am I committed to my spouse?
Yeah.
And so I decided to look at that, and I've actually called it becoming one. And that's exactly what's happening when you're married. You become one. And what I teach people, in health is to have wholeness. We're tackling that root cause in health.
Mhm.
And I also want to target that root cause even in if there's those behind the scenes struggles that you have in your marriage where you're feeling disconnected. You're feeling like you're struggling and that the health of the marriage may be faltering in some areas. You want to discover what the areas are and come together to connect and improve that. And so I'm going to be actually talking about the foundation of marriage and what it means to start with, and go from there.
Love it. There's marriage. I know we're gonna. So spoiler alert, everybody. We're gonna be getting into some biblical principles here because as far as I'm concerned, and I know Bryce is on board here with this, is God is the author of marriage. And he's the one that came up with the idea. And so so to talk about it, it makes sense to go to his word and go to the source, go to who came up with this awesome idea of marriage, and so yeah, we're gonna dive in here. And what's first?
All right, so I'm going to start in Genesis, and I'm actually going to start with the creation of man.
Yep.
So in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, then God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Let them rule over the sky, over the livestock, over the whole earth, and over every crawling creature that crawls on the land." God created humankind in his image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female, he created them. God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the land and conquer it. Rule over the fish of the sea, the flying creatures of the sky, and over every animal that crawls on land."
Mm-hmm.
And then skipping over to chapter 2, and I'm going to start in verse 15. Then God took the man and gave him rest in the Garden of Eden in order to cultivate and watch over it. Then the Lord God commanded the man, saying, "From all the trees of the garden you are most welcome to eat, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil you must not eat. For when you eat from it, you must assuredly die." Then Adonai Elohim, Lord God, said, "It is not good for man to be alone. Let me make a well-matched helper for him." So the Lord God had formed from the ground every animal of the field, every flying creature of the sky. So he brought them to the man to see what he would call them. Whatever the man called them, each living creature, that was its name.
Mm-hmm.
So the man gave names to all the livestock, and to the flying creatures of the sky, and to the animals of the field. But for the man he did not find a well-matched helper. So the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall on the man, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in its place. The Lord God built the rib which he had taken from the man into a woman. Then he brought her to the man. Then the man said, "This one, at last, is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This one is called woman. For from man was taken this one. This is why man leaves his father and mother and clings to his wife, and they become one flesh."
Yep.
So I'm going to touch on taking the rib, and because you're going to have a lot of different views, and people look down on taking such a small part from the man. you look at the word rib, it actually can also refer to side,
Okay.
taken from the side of man. So in the beginning, God created man in his image, both male and female. There was
Mhm.
wholeness there. It's interesting that in order to see his helper, and the help, and people don't realize, like, helper doesn't mean that you're going to be matched in the abilities or what you,
Right.
um,
Yeah.
what the role is. And, and so the helper is also going to help you see um, a lot of things that you may not like and may not like about yourself, and that person's going to trigger you.
Yeah, that
um,
helper is kind of like a mirror staring you in the face when you do something that you know you're not supposed. Yeah, it's like, hey, you know,
yep,
it's there to call you out too sometimes. So, yeah,
absolutely.
oy.
Yep. And, looking back at the creation of man and also the fall of man,
Mm,
um, a lot of people want to blame Eve for the fall. And this is where uh, responsibility comes in.
yeah,
It's like, if, say, in fact, that Adam actually took responsibility for his wife,
right.
would the punishment still be put on him? And it's like, well, probably not.
Probably not.
Yep.
Probably not. No, if you'd been like, whoa, 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 hold on. What did God say? Remember what he said back then? He just said it.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're not supposed to eat from that one.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep. That's why sin is on Adam, is because, well, he didn't take responsibility. He didn't take responsibility over his wife and, you know, what was permissible. He didn't stand in the place that was meant for him as a husband.
yeah,
Fast forward to Jesus Christ, the second Adam. He actually took responsibility for his bride,
yep.
and that's where marriage is such a beautiful picture of that relationship we have with God, and also the picture of Messiah is, him, loving the church so much that he gave his life for it.
Hmm.
And so again, how that plays into to health is take responsibility for your stuff, for your mess.
Yeah,
And the thing is God created us. We're his mess. It's his responsibility to take care of that mess.
right.
and sometimes we forget about that. And so for on a personal level, it's like, take care of your mess and see what's in it for you. Like, where are you disconnected in yourself? Because I mean, that's going to tie into the health of the marriage.
Yeah,
Where you're not
sure.
taking responsibility and choosing to love. And again, as you know, and have learned through the process, taking the program, is loving yourself first.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's not. It's. I feel like the phrase self love has gotten out of hand
It has.
nowadays. It's gotten way blown way out of proportion. And what that I think what you're talking about and what I understand it to be is that you love yourself. It's kind of like the classic example. I know everybody's heard this, but put your mask on first, right? In the airplane. Like everybody's heard it. Nobody pays attention to it anymore. But when the oxygen mask drops, if that happens on a plane, they always say put your mask on first and then assist others, because if you don't put yours on, you're going to be useless to others. And
Yes.
so that's kind of the premise that you're coming from, I imagine. Yeah.
Yep. It's exactly it. Is get yourself in order.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're at capacity to take on the situation.
Yeah.
And if you're not taking care of you, how are you going to take care of somebody else?
Yeah. If your cup's empty, how are you going to fill anybody else's up? Yeah,
Exactly.
it's true.
Yep.
It's true.
Absolutely. So, going fast forward, I'm going to actually go to Matthew. I'm going to talk a little bit a minute because, I mean, nowadays, marriage is taken very lightly, I think. And that's why, you see that divorce rate so high. And
Well, the divorce rate's high, but even beyond that, people aren't getting married.
Right.
They're just
They're
not getting married. They're
They're
just, it's just they live together. They're living together and having kids, and it sounds convenient, but it's not biblical, and it's not as beneficial. I know it seems like a cool shortcut, but it's just not. It's just not a good thing. I know we're talking to an audience here that's like, I don't know if a lot of our audience are Christians. I don't know if I don't know. So let me just address that for a second. So if you're listening to this, and by the way, thank you for watching. If you're watching this, thank you for being here. No matter where you're watching from, if you're watching this and you're like, you know what, I disagree with you. I think it's okay to do this or that or this or that. I don't live, from the biblical perspective, because that's all, old and archaic, and there's new things now. And bring it on. Let's talk about it. Comment, conversations are good. Let's have that conversation. I would love to have that conversation. Put it in the comments. Let's have that dialogue, because that's the only way that people will learn other perspectives, So yeah, let's do it. Because I know this is controversial. In my humble opinion, it shouldn't be, but it is. It's controversial now, to talk about, marriage and one man, one woman, all that stuff. So I just want to get that out of the way. So yeah, go for it.
Yep. Yeah, definitely being controversial. It's like, and it's uncomfortable to talk about like those controversial things, but sometimes a lot of the things that people face in our programs, it's very controversial. And to put that out there, like if you're coming to talk to us, your beliefs are going to be challenged about what you think about health, what you think about relationships.
Yeah.
All of it. It's going to be challenged. And I mean, it was challenged for me even. And, I've been a believer for a long time, but there's still a lot of, the ideas of commitment to a person that, even sometimes most devout believer is not connecting to.
Yeah.
And what marriage is all about. I see so many people, Christians that are married, and they're putting on a good show in public, but behind the scenes there's a lot of chaos and unrealness in the home. And it's like, we need to face what's there, because a lot of times we're living very externally. We want to put on a show, we want to look good. And the thing about when people get together because, it feels good to be with this person, or I like this person, which is a valid reason to be with a person, because you like them. I hope you like them if you're with them. But again, that's not the whole point of being with a person. Being with that person should inspire you to grow and to have a strong relationship, not with just with each other, but with yourself, and with God. And like I always look at marriage, it's from a believer's perspective, like a triangle.
Yep.
And so the closer you go to God, each one of you, the closer you come together.
Yep. Love it.
And so that there was a very good clicking point in my personal journey. The closer that I came to God, and also dealing with my own stuff, taking care of me, that helped me get closer to God. Also helped. My wife's coming along with me.
Yep.
And she's growing with me, and that was a beautiful thing to see, that she was on board with that mission, with that goal in mind, and any goal that has come up. And that's part of that marriage, is you're becoming one. It's like, you're not always going to agree on everything and see things the same way. And I look at most marriages, and most people can can see is they look at it as we usually marry someone that is a lot like the parent we didn't get along with. We got along with the least.
Oh, crap. Okay. All right.
So that's what I come to see, and I've seen it in my parents' marriage, seen it in my marriage, I've seen it in other people's what was your relationship like with your father or your mother, growing up? And a lot of time, that's the very person that the person they got along with the least is that type of person end up marrying. It's like, that's for a reason. That's so you can heal that, you're healing together that trauma, that wound, that part of you that you've rejected. And that's the thing is again, becoming one doesn't mean, oh, I have everything in common with this person.
No.
It doesn't work. It's like it's kind of like in the believers, like the whole body of Messiah, the church. Each person has their calling. Each person has their roles that they play, but they're all part of the body, all one in Messiah. It's the same thing with the marriage. It's like you have your roles that you play. You have your personality. You have what makes you unique, but you're still one. And I think when it comes to, I'm going to use the word integration here, is we integrate a lot of our stuff that, we've avoided in our healing journey. And when we integrate that, when we heal that, we see it as part of the whole, like this, I belong. This is a wholeness here. Same thing with the marriage, is seeing this opposite person of me that belongs. And it's here to teach me and to help grow with me. And we have that goal in mind, like I want to grow together. And I know you're going to change. I know I'm going to change. But I'm committed to facing each challenge as it comes.
Yeah.
Love
it. Yeah, it's true. Yep. Well, I mean, we could keep going, but I feel like we should. I think today we're just gonna do one commercial break today, right in the middle here, and then we'll pick up where we left off and keep on going, because there's plenty to say about marriage, and I know everybody out there that's watching everybody's got an opinion about it, right? So it's we're gonna dive into that a little bit. So we'll have more to come. Stick around, don't go anywhere. This is probably going to be stuff you haven't heard typically out there about marriage. So don't go anywhere. You're gonna be happy you stuck around. So we'll see you in just a couple minutes.
Hey everybody, Craig Tomanini here, founder and CEO of Ask Craig T, and I wanted to do a quick reminder about our podcast every Friday, 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. You can find us on YouTube and on all of our social media platforms, so be sure you tune in. Don't miss all the valuable information we're going to give you about how to scale your business using technology.
Hi, I'm Jake, co-founder and CEO of One Hope. My friends and I started this company in 2007 out of the back of this truck, on a mission to enrich people's lives through wine. Today, we've grown into a state-of-the-art Napa Valley winery that proudly houses a portfolio of award-winning wines which have touched lives through over 40,000 nonprofits at home and around the globe. And it's happening every day. Being rooted in local communities and contributing to initiatives that uplift neighborhoods, celebrate cultures, and promote community. It's what got us here. You see, through every bottle sold, your purchase can make a direct impact on the causes you care about. One Hope's Cause of Choice has given back over $10 million and counting.
Hey there. You know, every time someone comes into your business or website and uses their card to pay, a percentage of that gets folded back into the system. But it can go to Hydro with Hope instead. If you'd like your business to support us rather than feed back into the system, scan the QR code and we'll show you how to do that while saving your business money.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Greg Russell. I'm the host of TechnologyTuesday.com. You can find us on the Conscious Business TV network every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the latest resources to help you make more money in your business. Join us on E360 TV. Come on.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Bryce, thank you for being here. This is always good. I always love talking all things chronic illness solution because honestly, you guys have figured it out. Michelle and I don't know. I love it when entrepreneurs and business owners like Michelle, like you and Chris and Madeline and Stephen and all the crew with chronic illness solution, they see a need and they present a solution. That's the beauty of it. It's like, you can only lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink. This is a solution. It's one that's worked for us. It's one that's worked for thousands of people. Are you ready for it? Whether that's in a health journey or in a marriage journey. If you're not, nobody can force you to do this. Nobody can force you to do anything. So, but if you're ready, come on, let's go down that road, and that's the same thing with the marriage course, becoming one. So yeah, if you're ready, Bryce is ready for you.
Right. Yep. And, there's, we keep on developing programs for all kinds of things. And so it's, we're dealing with chronic health problems. We're dealing with marriage problems. We're actually getting people who are believers. We have even classes for, listening to the Holy Spirit. We have all kinds of programs. We have, people who are trained in dealing with trauma, and we got a whole scape of things available. So if you're struggling in any area, hey, reach out.
Yep. That's what the QR code's there for. We're going to leave it there the whole show. So it's there. Scan it. There's a really easy way to get in touch. Get on the calendar, email, reach out, and get on the calendar to meet with somebody from Chronic Illness Solution for whatever you are looking for. It's pretty awesome. And if you're debating, you're like, I don't know if this is right, do it. Because what do you got to lose? Have a conversation, see where it goes. That's all you can do. So anyway, All right. Let's pick up where we left off.
All right. So with health of relationships in today's world, I've looked at my own journey on an individual level and, seeing my own illness I went through, and then I can see that in the mirror of the world. And you look at the world, there's a lot of world that's sick in many ways. And a lot of that has to do with relationships. Yeah. And, like you said, people just living together, people getting divorced, all that. And it's just coming to the point of people do not connect to what true commitment is. And they marry for love, and they expect sometimes love to sustain that relationship. And it's like, there's more to it than just love. There's got to be respect and honor and the willingness to have those hard conversations and work through stuff.
Yeah.
And what I want to go to here now is a passage in Matthew chapter 19 where the Pharisees are questioning, Jesus, about is it permitted for a man to divorce his wife for any reason at all?
Yeah.
And get some context here. Back then, there was two major rabbis, there was Hillel and Shammai, and they had their different takes on, say, the law of God and how it was interpreted and what was permitted. And it's interesting. I think they were questioning, where does Jesus align with in this segment? And like Hillel, he said you could divorce your woman for burning your food. So
Oh, jeez.
I mean that's for any reason at all. That's where they have any reason at all come up. And he actually, he did side with Hillel on a lot of these points. If you look at a lot of his teachings and what Hillel was teaching, lined up quite a bit. But in this case, he actually lined up with Shammai. And he answered them in verse 4, haven't you read? He answered, he who created them from the beginning made them male and female, and said, for this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife. The two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no man separate. And then they said to him, why then did Moses command to give her certificate of divorce and put her away? And Jesus said to them, because of your hardness of heart, Moses permitted you to divorce your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. Now I tell you, whoever divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality, and marries another, commits adultery. So this is where he says this is the grounds, except for sexual immorality, which was Shammai's view. It had to be, a serious case, to where it's actually permissible to, the bonds have been broken. That covenant you made together has been broken in that. And can you still heal? Yes, you can still heal from that. Absolutely.
I mean, I've known people that I've known couples that have had that happen.
Yeah.
And they're still married today, and they've chosen to not divorce, and work it out, go through it. And it's not easy, but they've chosen that route. So it's not, it's permissible. What is it? If it's just because it's permissible doesn't mean it's beneficial, right?
Exactly.
So,
because it's permissible, like, all things are like that, the saying of Paul, all things are permissible, but not beneficial.
Right.
And so it's kind of one of those things like, if you have the will and the commitment to work things out, work it out. I mean, and it's the thing is when you're in and out of relationships, the same stuff's going to come up again and again. You're trying to look for happiness in another person, or for that person to treat you right, you treat them right, type of thing. And those wounds are going to keep showing up. Those patterns will show up until you choose to actually face it and heal it.
Yeah.
And on an individual level, it's the same. On a relationship level, it's the same. You got to be willing to face those hard things and come together, even if it doesn't feel good. It's a mess, and it's like, is it worth fighting for? It's something you got to really sit with it. And the same thing with myself is going through a health journey. I had to get to the point: am I worth fighting? Is my health worth? Am I worthy enough to have that life I deserve? Am I worthy enough to have that relationship I want in this person? And that's the same thing as, being able to come together and hash out those differences we have. We have so many pictures of division, and you see that in Christianity. Look at how many, sects of Christianity, how many different religions there are. Nobody can agree. And it's like, you know what? Sometimes a lot of that division is based on illusions, fears, ego, and a lot of times
Yeah.
there's certain things that we come together and we can't agree on, and that's true. Can we come together and focus on what's true in that relationship? What's true, and how do we come together and be one? And it realizes that God says that He is Echad, which is one. It's unified, and it's that calling for us to be that same unified one.
Yeah.
And it's like, doesn't mean we're all doing the same thing and same person. We're not robots here. We're all unique people, and we all have different things we're dealing with and different things that we're good at, and for good reason.
I mean,
So
with that point right there, like I almost said something earlier, but like so Catherine and I, my wife Catherine and I have been married. Let's see, last June was 26 years. We've been married 26 years, and we knew each other for 10 years before that. So we've known each other for a long time, and there is still stuff that we have never. I'm sure they're out there, but we've never seen another couple that is more opposite than us. Like she'll do something and I'll be like, what are you doing? Why are you doing it like that? Well, this is the way that I would do it. Well, okay, I would do it totally the opposite way. I mean, seriously, I can't think of a specific example right now, but literally there's not a day that goes by that there's not something that one of us does that's completely the opposite of how the other person would go about doing it. And some people would say that's crazy, but I think it's kind of cool, especially when you bring kids into the mix. It's almost like you blend the two, and it's like you make a totally new thing, and it's pretty cool. So the more I find those differences, the more I kind of chuckle, and it's not annoying. It's kind of hilarious, honestly. So every time we find another one of those, we just look at each other and laugh. It's like, oh my gosh, so yeah. I don't know, something you said just reminded me of that, and it's so if there are people out there that it's like, oh, he's just too different. I don't know if I can stay married. We're just too different. That's the strength of it, man.
yeah,
That's the beauty of it.
yeah,
So,
absolutely. And I think about this because I've met other people, other women, even before I was married, who had a lot more in common with me, and I didn't feel that draw or that call to them. Like my soul wasn't matching with theirs, type of things. Like that wasn't my other half of my soul per se, and it's the reason because like that's already integrated in me. That's already integrated. That I can see that already. So a lot of times, they say opposites attract, kind of like a magnet. You can't have positive, negative. Got to have it, kind of the opposite attraction there. And also,
it's almost like God knows that you have to both grow in the marriage anyway. So if you're both exactly the same, where's the growth? You can't grow if everybody agrees on everything and everybody's doing the same thing the same way. You gotta have that opposite. Sometimes it's opposition. Sometimes it's healthy. That's a good thing.
Oh yeah. It brings balance to it.
Yes.
Its thing is my wife balances me out, and I can balance her out, and we can be accountable to each other, and we catch each other, off balance. It's like, okay, that person's there to get my attention, and sometimes it isn't pleasant how they get my attention, but hey, I'm very grateful for it, and this thing in healing journey is like I started looking at triggers as, oh, here's that opportunity to heal this in myself. And so every time I'm triggered, even by my wife, I'm like, okay, I can avoid this trigger, or I can press into it. Like, let's see what this trigger is actually saying, and let's try to get some clarity. Let's get some connection and talk through it if we can.
Some agreement.
And, yeah, exactly.
Totally. Love it.
Yeah. So
Cool.
I'm going to actually skip ahead again to section Ephesians. And first, I want to set the premises for what we're going to talk about in this section.
Okay.
Is there is a false view of the word that's going to be brought up here, which is submit or submitted or submission.
Oh, yep. Careful.
Yep.
Careful.
I don't want to submit to no man. I've heard a lot of that. I'm gonna have my own thing going my own way and all that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Put the remotes down. Don't change. Don't leave now. The submit is not what. Okay. We're gonna. Yeah.
Yep.
Disclaimer.
All right. So first, I'm gonna read it. We're gonna talk about that word submission. So
Bring it on.
Ephesians 5, and start in verse 21. I think it's good to start there.
Yep.
Also submit yourselves to one another out of reverence for Messiah. Wives, to your own husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Messiah also is the head of his community, himself the Savior of the body. But as Messiah's community is submitted to Messiah, so also the wives to their husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives, just as Messiah also loved his community and gave himself up for her, to make her holy, having cleansed her by immersion in the word. Messiah did this so that he might present to himself his glorious community, not having stain or wrinkle or any such thing, but in order that she might be holy and blameless. In the same way, husbands ought to love their own wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. For no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as Messiah also does his community. Because we are members of his body, for this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. This mystery is great, but I'm talking about Messiah and his community. In any case, let each one of you love his own wife as himself, and let the wife respect her husband.
Man,
Back me up.
So much there. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yep. There's a lot there, and I don't know if we're going to.
I don't know if we'll get to all of it, but yeah.
So, talking about that word submission. So, you have the word sub, and you have mission. Let's actually look at it into word submission.
Okay.
That means I'm in agreement to the mission. Like as a believer, I'm in agreement with Messiah in the mission of his way.
Yeah.
Like I want to fall under his way. I want to be a follower or submit to the way that he wants me to live.
Uh-huh.
The wife, as it says, wife, submit to your husband, is you're agreeing to have this, you're taking on that same mission as your husband. You're on that same mission, that same goal in mind.
Yeah.
You're still going to have your differences. That's fine. But you're in agreement that, hey, wherever you go, I'll go. Wherever you stay, I'll stay. I'm with you on this mission. I'm side by side with you. The thing about it, that's what I brought up in the beginning, is that rib side. You're taking from the side. You're side by side in this. You're agreeing to, I'm side by side with you. I'm submitting to the mission, your mission, submission.
Well, and it goes both ways. Like, I don't know if, like, a lot of people overlook this part, but the wife submit to the husband, but we are also to submit to God.
Yes.
So we are also to be submissive as well. It's not just because a lot of people get that wrong. And they're like, it's all about the wife submitting to the husband, but you got to do your part too, man. Yeah. Otherwise, she's not. Otherwise, don't be surprised if she doesn't do her part. You got to have yourself ready first. So it's that whole oxygen mask thing again. Dang it. You got to have yourself in check first, and then she can submit to you. So
again,
there you go.
That self check where you're going towards God.
Yep.
You're submitting to that mission. That's where she can submit right on you. Come right with you. Let's come right with you here.
Nice.
And then it says for the husbands to love your wives as Messiah also loved his community and gave himself up for her. Again, a man should leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife.
Yeah.
Look at that picture of what Jesus did. He left his place in heaven, came down here, gave his life for us.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like a huge sacrifice, but it's like, what greater mission is that to, be able to come to that point where, I am giving you my life. I'm not going for any others. I'm forsaking all others for you.
One, it's for our good.
Yeah,
it's not like we're doing this for any nefarious, thing. We're not doing it for anything bad. It's for your good. We're doing this so that it all works out. It's for the greater good. So, yeah.
Yep. It's when it comes to the masculine and being the husband, we're the giver and we want to provide. And it's like in our nature to want to give and provide. It's actually what keeps us going and drives us forward is knowing that I'm providing for my wife and for my family. That's a driving point. That was a driving point in healing, was like, I want to be able to show up my best for my wife. I want to be able to show up best for my kids. I want to be showing up as a whole person, healthy, connected, doing what I need to do.
Yeah.
And I want my wife right there with me.
Which is really hard to do if you're not healthy. If you're not fully healthy, it's a lot harder to show up like that and actually follow through with that mission. So that's another reason you got to get that straight. That's that oxygen mask. You got to get that straight first, and then you can, Yep.
Get yourself in a healthy place. Get yourself in a, groundness and who you are, and okay, what am I doing this for?
Yeah.
And the thing is I see even in this, people going, like the wrong direction with it right off the bat, where all their focus is like, I gotta, it's such a sacrifice. I gotta give. I have to do this. I have to do that. I should do this. I should do that. And it's like, if you're trying to save everyone else, including your spouse, and that's your whole focus, you're probably going to drive yourself down and also drive that person, because you're pursuing for the wrong reason to begin with. Like, get clear on, okay, as it says, love your own wives as yourself. So means like, it says here, for no one ever hate his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it. Well, I've known a lot of people that don't love their own flesh, and they don't cherish their own bodies that they're given.
Right.
That has to be in place first. It really does. It's kind of like I said, that put that oxygen mask on first. Fill up your cup first, so you can actually truly know how to love your wife.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't love yourself. How are you gonna love anybody else?
It's true. If you don't know how to do that, you're in trouble. We got about 4 minutes left. What do we got? How do we want to bring this home?
So bring home this way. If you find that even if you think your marriage is pretty healthy, but you still have those moments or those areas, or maybe you do know some of those blind spots starting to poke through, that I'd like to get clear on what we can do to have deeper connection.
Mm-hmm.
Reach out. I'm doing a marriage course. I'm going through round 1 of it right now, and I'm going to be putting on more as time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And this is for couples, even people who are thinking about getting married. Like, I want them to come into a relationship knowing what commitment is. I want them to come in knowing what they're doing this for, what reasons are they want to get married for, what's their attachment style. I want them to get clear on where they're at in themselves before they actually decide to jump into a relationship where they may not be grounded in themselves or secure in themselves.
Yeah.
And just strengthen that security in themselves before jumping into a marriage. And if you're already married, deepen that security, deepen that connection. So yeah, click that QR code, or you can reach out to me, Bryce at chronicillnesssolution.com if you have any questions.
Yeah.
And we can get you signed up for.
And it could be for anybody. I mean, it could be anybody. If you've been married 25 years and you want to make it better, or you've been married 5 years and you're like, what the heck have we gotten into? Like, what are we doing? What have we gotten ourselves into? Is this a mistake? Or before you even take the plunge, start off right, anybody and everybody. You don't have to have a crisis going on in your marriage right now to go and pursue this class, any class, it's the health of your marriage is a proactive thing. And whether you're and the best time to pursue something like this is when you're doing good, like when you could always do better. Right.
Yep.
So yeah, anybody's welcome. It's awesome.
Yep. And the last thing is it's all donation based. So
beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome. Opened up. So come join us. And like I said, Jeff, even if your marriage is going really good and you've been married for a lot of years, it's always good to be proactive and continuing having that healthy relationship and growing together. And we do get complacent at times, and that's the truth. I find myself getting complacent sometimes too, and it's like, okay, I'm catching my complacency here. Let's come together and grow. I'm feeling maybe disconnected from my spouse in these moments. So let's learn to deepen that connection. So it doesn't matter where you're at in that phase of your relationship. It's just good to see, am I coming into this in a healthy way? Am I continuing this in a healthy way? Am I continuing in a secure way? Am I knowing that I'm one with my spouse? Or I know that I'm becoming one with that person I plan to marry. So having all that in mind, when you're choosing to get married, that's a biggest commitment of your life right there.
Yeah.
And you got to know that, okay, can I choose this knowing that I'm leaving all others behind? And that's the thing that I see in so many marriages is they don't I've seen where a man doesn't leave his father and mother. He's still more attached to them than his wife. Yeah. And I've seen that, go both ways. And actually, I ended a relationship based on that because I knew that person wasn't choosing me. They were going to choose their parents. And I'm like, okay, I know that's not going to work. So
and it's all part of it. So I mean, I know I took the QR code down because we're out of time, but if you didn't get to scan it, just go back and watch and you can scan it. So, but Bryce, thank you so much for being here, man. This is always good, always great. Appreciate you being here, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but join us for our next show, which is going to be on Friday. Wait, is that right? Yeah. Friday, September 19th, because we're Tuesday today. And join us again for the next time that Chronic Illness Solution will be on, which will be the first and third Tuesday of every month, which is coming up in October, because we're already, kind of through September. So here we go. So join us then. Join us for the next show on September 19th. And until then, have an amazing day, and we'll see you next time.